Hi, this is Small Business 21st Century, and I'm your host of the Wealth Zone University, Don Maraney. Today we have a guest. Her name is Novelli Galendo. Novelli, welcome. Thank you for being on our show.
Thanks for having me, Don.
Now, Novelli, you work for Montgomery County in the Economic Development area. Could you tell us what your title is and just a little bit about what it does briefly?
Yes. So I am the Business Community Engagement Manager for Diversity and Inclusion.
Okay, impressive title.
And it's a long title, but it's a title basically, my role is to help small businesses and underserved community, working with any business out there looking to find resources, funding. I want those businesses to be able to grow in our county.
Okay.
So that's kind of like the main role that I play for them.
So since you and I have been friends, I've learned that you have a three vast folks, experience and background in business, academia. Mm-hmm. Could you tell us a bit about your business experience?
Yeah, so I started in corporate and I started working with Pfizer. And back in those days, a little bit of my background, my father was a diplomat, so I grew up in a very international background.
Okay.
So I started working for Pfizer and work in Japan, work in Colombia, work in UK, work in different countries with Pfizer. Back in those days, it used to be Warren Lambert, and I became Pfizer. Mm-hmm. Then I went to work, and that was as a financial analyst. Then I went to work for AT&T, and I worked there for several years, and I more went into the marketing side. Okay. And there I did a lot of work with the Hispanic markets, diversified markets.
But then you went into your own business.
And then
How
I did,
that happen?
yeah. So I went from corporate, and then there was an opportunity for me to basically have my own business or move to another division, and I decided to have my own business. Okay. So I started an international trade business where I had retail, wholesaling, and worked with about 20 different countries. And I did that for about 11 years.
Oh, right.
And that took me to my next step, which was actually working for the government. I became the Director of International Affairs and Trade for the City of Kansas City, Missouri, under the mayor's office. Okay. And that was because I had already been a business owner, so I understood what it was like to run a business.
And you were in international
And I was
business.
in international, work overseas. So I basically helped businesses take their business overseas and brought companies to the U.S. For indirect investment and work with dignitaries. Having done that, of course, every governmental official has their term. And when our mayors decided to step down, it was time for me to do the same. Mm-hmm. And I decided to open a consulting firm in international trade. Okay. And I did that for 2 years and working with companies that said, who are we going to work with? You're no longer working with the city. Mm-hmm. So I became their consultant and worked with them in consulting international trade. And at the same time, had an opportunity to teach at a university international trade and entrepreneurship.
Wow. And so you brought the actual experience and the teaching experience to your job in Montgomery County working with small businesses.
Yes.
So what do you actually do with small businesses for the county?
So I work with them in the sense that first of all, I need to communicate with them what's available. How can we help them? So Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation, MCDC for short, we're there to be the connector to resources. So my particular role is to be able to tell them what is available. If a business says, I'm interested to run a business, I don't know, how can I develop a business plan? I know who can work with you to develop a business plan. I'm interested in having a license, a permit, know the requirements. Let me connect you with the Montgomery County Business Center that can help you with that. Mm-hmm. I'm interested in some funding. I don't know where to go to get a grant loan. I will work with them to develop, help them understand where they can get some funding. Mm-hmm. So basically it's the connector to resources and funding as well.
So you're the person that we come to who then puts us in touch with other people that can help us.
That can help you.
So you're like the whole spoke, and then you make sure everybody goes where they need to go.
And in some cases, we partner with organizations like the Latino Economic Development Center to offer them loans or grants, and then we process those grants and help them. So for example, we have a loan right now that we partner with the Latino Economic Development Corporation, Center, and we basically guide them to how can they apply for the grant, and they will get assigned a loan officer to be able to guide them to how to apply and to be approved for the loan.
So I want to talk about grants later on.
Yes.
But right now I want to talk about what you do for the small business community and why the small business community should be coming to you.
Yes.
So let me say, you're a county government. Montgomery County government is part of the state.
Correct.
Does every jurisdiction, every state, every county have its own Economic Development
They
Corporation?
do, and we tend to work with them. I can tell you that I tend to communicate with like maybe the Frederick County, or the Howard County, because we want to be sure. There's situations where we have businesses that want to come into our county from other counties. I have businesses that want to expand to other counties, and so we definitely want to be well connected to everyone around us. Our main emphasis is of course, to protect or to retain businesses,
In the county,
help them
of
grow,
course.
and attract them to our county itself.
And so, folks, the fact that we're talking about Montgomery County today is specific, but for the county where your business is located or where you live, the same kind of support is available, okay? I want you to make sure that we're talking about a specific county, but all counties would have something similar.
Similar.
But they won't have a Novelli, so that's the important thing here.
And the programs could be a little bit different to the point like we offer, and we'll talk about this, some of the grants that they might not have the same grants, but have something similar. So they will have to check with their own county to be sure that they can see what's available.
So I'm a small business. When do I come to you? How do I come to you? What should I do? I know those are three different questions. What should I do before I get to you? But how do I connect with Novelli?
So the first thing that I would say to a business, I like to have a one-on-one with them. I like to understand their background, their business needs. Some businesses are more interested in getting funding. Some businesses are looking for site selection. I need a place, an office. Some businesses don't really know where to start, and they're brand new entrepreneurs. And I want to find out if we need to connect them to several organizations that we work with and we partner with, such as the Maryland Women Business Center. There are organizations out there that are willing to help them get to the next step. They should come to me when they are ready to maybe find an office space. I can help them with the site selection, looking for funding, looking to maybe even partner with other, maybe finding talent. Some companies or businesses are looking to hire people. So connecting them to the WorkSource Montgomery is an organization that we work very closely with.
I was on their board for a very long time.
And they have grants there as well. When they're looking to hire, they have also training programs. They have ways to assist them to get the talent that they need.
Wow. And so really a company doesn't have to be out there on their own.
No.
They have lots of opportunities to come and talk with someone in your position. So what is economic development?
Economic development is a way to improve our economy, our county. I'll give an example. We have several industries that we are known for, and we want those industries to do well because they create new jobs and create some capital investment for us.
Okay.
In Montgomery County, we have the life sciences. We have technology, cybersecurity, defense, nonprofit, hospitality. Those are areas of growth for us. We want those areas to grow, and we want to be the organization to help those industries to grow. The small businesses are important to us as well, which is the reason why I have my role right now, which is a role to help them get to the next level. There is a lot of these thoughts that small businesses don't get enough help. There is a lot of programs for them, especially when it comes to guidance, free guidance, mentorship, where it is someone that can sit with them and guide them to what's the next step.
Well, my business, I've been in business almost 4 decades, and Montgomery County ushered me from the time I was brand new till success. Thank you. And so just knowing that there are resources out there and you can reach them is very important for businesses of all size, but especially for small businesses.
And I have to tell you that a lot of small businesses, I didn't know that these programs exist. So what do? I go out there to the community. I ask the different chamber of commerce, different organizations, invite me to talk to your members, invite me to talk to any business owner that needs to understand that there are resources for them. I used to be a business owner, as I mentioned earlier. And I remember my first business, I didn't know there were funding, there were mentorship, there were people that could help you. I didn't know. So a lot of these small businesses go out there in their own, they spend their own money. I talked to a lady this morning that she mentioned that she used her 401k, that she used her loans, her credit cards, and I said, I understand that you needed funding, but what do they need to do? They need to do research. They need to come and look for someone like us, go through our website. We have a resource guide on our website that tells you all the resources that are available, all the different types of organizations that can help them.
Okay.
So that's one step.
It's called a resource guide?
It's a resource guide in our website in Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation.
Okay, and you'll see the website in our lower third.
So there's a resource guide that has every organization that is in Montgomery County. And what do? You can click on the links of all these organizations to take you directly to their services. So that's one idea of do your research, find out what's available. Next thing, make an appointment with me, talk to me, email me. That's usually the best way. I'll do a one-on-one with them and understand their needs. Once they meet with me, is discussing what resources do I feel that they need at that point. I'll give you an idea that there is programs available. There's a MOVE grant, there is a ACE loan. The MOVE grant is for businesses that are looking to open a new office. So after COVID, a lot of businesses had to go home. And many people went home because they had to be in a home office. Now they don't want to have clients come into their home.
Yes.
And they're growing. And so they say, well, now I got to get back to an office. The county decided to have a MOVE grant or this type of grant to promote back into the office space.
Okay.
And so there are requirements. There is, we can give up to about $80,000 in a grant based on the space of the office.
Okay.
So what I tend to them is walk with them and I say, let's discuss what are the requirements and how can you meet the requirements to get the grant. It has to be a specific office space. It has to be classification A and B, which is something that I can help them identify that classification.
Okay, let's talk about that and what the A and B is.
So for the grant, it has to be classification A and B. And what does that mean? That means that it has to be a building that is classified as an office space and not a retail or industrial.
I understand.
How do they know the classification? If they find an address and a place that they want to make go to an office, I tell them to send me the address. I'll look in ColdStar, which is a software that we use. I'll check the classification, if it's classification A or B.
Okay, so ColdStar tells you what the classification is.
And I have a couple of examples that are interesting.
Well, just hold those for a couple of seconds. We're going to come back.
Yeah.
Folks, we're going to break, and we're going to just, Novelli and I are going to continue to chat. We'll be back in a couple of seconds, but mostly important, I need you to figure out what county you're in while we're talking so that you can go to the resources that Novelli is going to share with us in the second part to help your business. The most important thing, and I think Novelli and I agree, is that you have to prepare, you have to be proactive, you've got to get this done, and then Novelli can help you move from that point on. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, get a cup of coffee. We'll be waiting to hang out with you in a couple of seconds. Bye. Hi, everyone. The objective of the Wealth Zone University is to change your mind about money to change your financial future. Hi, I'm your host, Don Maraney. In the Wealth Zone University, my guests and I talk about a wide variety of business, financial, and other worldly topics. We are seeking to both educate and entertain you. We emphasize that the informations and discussions are my opinion, perspectives, and ideas, and those of our guests. We in no way intend to deliver or provide financial, tax, or business advice. You should consult with your tax, accounting, financial, insurance, and legal advisors regarding the impact, application, or pertinence of any topic or opinion that we share on the Wealth Zone University. Thank you for being a part of our audience, and please continue to communicate with us through email and Twitter because this is your show. Welcome back. We're going to continue with the great conversation we were having with our guest, Novelli Galindo. And Novelli, when we went away, we were talking about grants and sources of money, and every business, small, large, and medium, is interested in some kind of capital access. Yes. Could you tell us what kinds of money things are underneath your
So, you know, I would say to everyone, there's always funding out there. You're not alone.
Okay. And
that's for any size of companies, but there are requirements. And so I will cover some of those because those grants are there and they are not for specific groups. So let me talk to you about a loan that we have now, ACE loan. And the loan is specifically for small businesses or for any business, really. But it's not so restricted as if you went to a bank or an institution that might require you to have a specific credit score.
And so what's this loan called we're talking about?
It's ACE, ACE Loan Fund Program.
Does ACE stand for anything?
Yeah, Accelerator Excellence, and I messed up with the name because I was called it ACE.
That's okay. That's all right. Anyway, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, but it's actually a loan that we partner with the Latino Economic Development Center. To give an ability for businesses to apply for more money, more funds, where they might have difficulty finding that type of funding from banks and institutions that have more strict requirements. What are some of the requirements? At this moment, there's no minimum credit score.
Okay.
No minimum revenue required of how they have to make, no minimum years in the business. So those minimums don't exist for them, which makes it easier to apply for the loan. It's not an easy loan, but it's easier than if they went to another institution.
Is there any minimum for how long you've been in business?
Not necessarily. No
okay.
minimum requirement and the number of years.
Okay.
But the question they always ask me is, well, how much can I borrow? They can borrow between $2,500 to $250,000. Interest rate can be between 4.5% to about 12%. How quick can they pay the loan? They can pay in 6 months or they can pay in 10 years. There is a fee of about $50 and a closing fee of 3%, so it's very minimum. Now, I always tell everyone, we provide this, it's also on the website, we provide this for them to analyze how much money do they need. Now, if it's a business that can look to borrow $250,000, go ahead and apply for that. But I always advise a small business that might be starting, maybe don't apply for the full amount at the beginning, apply for a small amount, and then later on apply for more if they need more for the loan. We want them to have some collateral. What do they need? A business plan. They need an ID. They need some tax returns. Everyone is different depending on how much they want to borrow. But it's a loan that is available for businesses. They might not be qualified for another loan for a bank because of the requirements that banks have on these institutions. So that's one loan that I kind of always mention.
So let me just say this about that. When you are thinking about going to any of these agencies, you need to have your business plan either started or done. If you're going for a loan, the question is, what are you going to do with it? And you have to convince us that you know what you're going to do with these loans. Wouldn't you say that would be helpful?
Yeah, and some businesses say, I have a business plan, but I don't know if it's enough for me to apply for this loan or for the grant. And as I always tell them, we have resources. If you're looking to make a better business plan, or you want to develop a business plan, we usually direct them to the Maryland Women's Business Center for them to guide them and help them develop the business plan. The Maryland Women Business Center is not only for women; it is for men too.
Oh, yeah, I did business plan training for them.
So,
for
but
years.
I always say that because I get asked a question. It's only for women. I said no, it's for men too. It's for anyone. But that's a center that allows them to go there and get some assistance to develop a business plan. Like we know, business plans tells you what are they planning to do in the future. How are they going to plan to be in business 5 years from now? What is the financial plan, the marketing plan? All these things are important to have because that's how a loan or a grant is going to review that and say, okay, this business is going to be in service for some time. So the business plan is important. So that's one requirement. When it comes to funding, there's another program that I call Move Grant.
Okay.
So after COVID, I mentioned everyone went to their home. Now they're getting bigger. Now they're getting clients, and they don't want to bring people to their home. So they're looking for a home office. They're looking for an office. Away from home. So now we have a grant, and this grant is for first-time leasers of an office space.
Wow.
There are requirements, and what are those? It has to be classification A and B, which means that it has to be an office space, not a retail, not an industrial. And how do they know if it's a classification A and B? 2 ways. You can contact me, and I can go to my CoStar software and pull that address and let them know what classification it is. Or you can talk to your broker if you have a broker, or you can talk to the landlord. But usually, if they come to us, we're able to pull that address in our software and tell them what classification it is.
Okay.
The requirement for the Move Grant has to be there has to be about 36 months lease. And it has to be, by the time they sign the lease, to the time they apply for the grant, they have 90 days. Because we don't want to hold money.
Yeah,
so they have to have a limit to apply for the grant.
So they should have a lease in place before they
apply.
Okay.
Now, we also require 4 documents when they apply for this grant. A business plan, articles of organization, so we know it's a business, the lease, and then a copy of an invoice for a utility bill, whether it's electricity, water, so we can see that they're really in that space. It happens that sometimes those spaces pay for all the utilities, but they most likely will not pay for the phone.
Okay.
So we want a copy of that phone just to be sure that the business is running out of that location.
Okay.
So I look through all these different documents, I review them. How do we determine how much money they get in the grant?
Yes.
So it's based on the space of the office. So we pay about $8 per square footage.
Wow,
so let's say,
I
always use the number 1,000 square, for an office that's 1,000 square footage. So it's 1,000 times $8, you pay $8,000. They get a lump sum. It's a money given to them. And people say to me, can I use this money for anything? I would say, yes, but don't gamble it. Because we want the money to go to the business. Now, there is another grant similar to that, and it's one that Rockville has. and it's called Rating Move Grant.
And Rockville is one of the cities in
One of
Montgomery
the cities in
County.
Montgomery County. And I would say to them, you can apply for that Move Grant as well. They pay $4 instead of $8, and they can combine them both. So in the example that I gave, the 1,000 square footage, $8, $8,000. If you apply and you're in Rockville, and you have to check with the city of Rockville to be sure it's in the right premises of Rockville, then they can get 4,000 in that example. So then they have 4,000, 8,000, 12,000 in grants. They always ask, how long does it take for the process to go in place? As long as I get those documents, as long as I meet all the requirements, and as long as I can see that everything meets the requirements that we're looking for, then it can take between 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how fast we can get, especially the utility bill, which is the one that takes longer once they take place, once they enter that office space. So that's another possibility of a grant for office space.
So let's stop right here. So grants, you do not have to be paid back.
They don't.
Loans do. So make that distinction for us.
So a grant is money it's given to them with the hope that they can use it to run their business and to grow their business. We want them back in the office. We want to help them out. Now, someone asked me this morning in a meeting that I had, do I ever have to pay the grant back? If you break the lease of the 3 months, the 36 months, then we have to talk because it is a 36 lease.
Yes, commitment.
And it's a commitment that we want you to keep. But it's a grant that once the money is given to you is money that that we want you to use.
So do you have any other grants specifically that you control?
So there is we don't, but we partner with an organization called the WorkSource Montgomery.
Yes.
And they're the ones that are helping small business or any business find talent. So the same, I go back to COVID. We got affected by COVID. Business got affected. Many had to close. Many had to go back home. Many had to lay off people. So what we want them to do is to also hire people back, and we want to help them with the hiring. And for those companies that were opening before COVID 2019, and they're looking to hire more people, we want to give them also some help. So the Montgomery WorkSource Montgomery is given a grant that is called GROW. And that is for people or business looking to hire full-time or part-time employees. For every full-time person they hire, they give $10,000. For every part-time, they give $5,000.
Wow, that's
but it has to
help.
be the criteria that has to be before that
Sure, of course.
2019. Now, the other thing they do for those companies or businesses that maybe started after COVID, and they say, well, I don't qualify for the grant. Is there anything they can do for me? They can also help them with training. They're looking to train people, hire people, recruitment. I need to find people that can work for me. They will help them with the recruitment. Once they hire those people, they help them with the training. And while those people are being trained, they pay the 3-month salary of those people that are being trained. So there is a lot of help when it comes to talent. It's a win-win for everyone. We want business to grow. We want business to hire. We want business to have offices. We want business to develop themselves. It's a county that is growing very fast, and we want to be part of that growth and that assistance for them.
Wow, that is amazing. So almost anything that a business needs from the time they start moving in, help with personnel, that's something that they can come through Montgomery County to do, and you will help them to find the resources to make it happen.
And it's important for them to know that there is not just us, but we are the connector, like I mentioned earlier. So there will be other organizations out there that can help them. I always mention also the governor's office, the government's Small Business and Women Affairs office, because they also offer business that want to get certified as women-owned businesses. They also offer training, mentorship. So that's another organization that we also work with and partner with. There are so many different types of resources available. TEDCO is another one that I don't want to forget. TEDCO for businesses that are more in the technology side. They offer also grants, they offer funding, mentorship. And so they have their own criteria on the type of technology business they're looking to get. But there is a lot of, like I said, the resource guide will give them the list of organizations out there and how they can work with them.
And if they don't want to go through resource guide, they can always contact someone like in your position.
Definitely.
And you can guide them through the entire process and put them in touch with the right sources.
Correct. Our website has a lot of that information. They can see me, and there's about 25 of us in in our organization, Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation, short MCDC. We have a group that does business development, one group that does marketing, one group that does the strategy and special projects administration. In my group of business development, there are different managers that handle different industries and expertise. So when you go to our website, you'll find us there, and you can easily contact us.
Wow. Novelli, thank you. You know, we've been friends since we met at a Chamber of Commerce
Yes,
event.
that's true.
And the most important thing that we can get across to you is that there is no reason to go it alone. Absolutely no reason. And two, not going it alone means that you have stuff to do ahead of time and you've got to be proactive. And then we've got wonderful people like this that can help us to move to the next level.
Thank you
Now,
for
Belly,
having me.
thank you. I'm going to be seeing you again soon.
Thanks.
And please take a look at all the counties, especially your county, and make sure that you use those resources. They're free. And come back and visit us at the Wealth Zone University very soon. Take care. And thanks for being here.